What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but we are back for yet another episode of Community Kitchen, where we are cooking up the latest and greatest legal battles, of course, in the gaming world. And who better to join me than my pal himself? Aiden, why don't you say what's up?
Hi, I am playing the role once again of I hate Nintendo.
Love the vibes, immaculate vibes. But before we get into today's episode, we'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for liking and subscribing to Game Sandwich. And if you're new here, why don't you consider joining in on the fun? Now, we got a lot to cover today because Palworld and Pokemon are back in the courtrooms. And albeit different little small technical terms here, and just a kind of overall warning over this whole episode. This legal stuff is very confusing. We're doing our best here. Just keep that in mind. Now, why are we back talking about Palworld and Pokemon? We thought that was all good. Well, we can move on from this all. Apparently not. Now, back on December 31st, Nintendo filed this weird lawsuit against Palworld, going over a bunch of different gameplay mechanics, like putting a creature in a ball, capture mechanics, the overall just game. Let's just call a spade there. Now, it looks like we're back in the courtrooms, albeit for the same thing. The same exact thing, albeit, though, it's not happening in Japan. It's happening here in the United States. Aiden, honestly, what's going on here? Like, why are we here again talking about this?
As always, Nintendo is going to Nintendo, even if Nintendo is bad at Nintendoing. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. Nintendo drives me insane. But apparently, they filed for 23 patents in the US in order to try and stop Palworld from being a thing. They want to take it down, but of at least from what is being reported, 22 of these 23 patents have been rejected, just outright rejected by the USPTO. So, thank you for that. Look at that. The United States justice system or patent system working in someone's favor for once, so woo. But I can't find exactly what it is that was accepted. So I know we were just talking about this, and we were like, oh, it's the capture mechanic. But I'm reading another thing here that apparently the patent that wasn't rejected is the smooth switching of writing objects in a game, meaning the ability to just switch mounts rapidly, like that they did in Legends Arceus, where you can go from like a climbing mount to a flying mount to a riding mount like very rapidly. So I don't know. People are saying that one was the one that was accepted. The other one, other things are saying that the one that was accepted is specifically the capture mechanic thing with like showing an indicator of percentage of likelihood to capture. But either way, it's stupid.
Now, I'm going to pull this exact quote from Game Rant. Shout out to them. For the person who did this, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your last name, but your first name is Dominic, and it's Boshnik. I'm just going to go with that. Now, we have a clear distinction, apparently, between the two. So, this is the exact direct quote from Game Rant. So, the main difference that we're kind of getting through here is the key difference between the December 31st and February 11th patents is that the former's creature capture system distinguishes between a first and a second mode of operation. There's a lot more to unpack there. It describes one screen for aiming a device, like a Pokeball, and the other for capturing and battling a creature on a dedicated field. In contrast, the newly secured patent attempts to avoid this distinction by using different terminology, like replacing the phrase field character with virtual character. So, it just, again, seems like they're just trying to block off the gameplay mechanics of Legends Arceus and saying, yeah, that was ours. No one else can touch that.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget here. Nintendo stole stuff from Dragon Age. Or not Dragon Age, Dragon whatever it was.
Not Dragon
I'm
Quest.
butchering it. Dragon Quest, yeah.
Is it?
I was like,
Oh.
yeah, they stole stuff from Dragon Quest because Dragon Quest originally had a bunch of monsters, and then Pokemon came and went, hey, we're going to make monsters that look similar. So let's not forget that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, they aren't saints.
They aren't.
And really, this shows more that they are not saints. Like they created something that was somewhat stolen from like design, and now they're trying to make it so that it's only their thing. And that just doesn't sit well with me.
Now, this is exactly, we did a video on this, like, when it first started going down. We put it out there that, one, they're probably going to lose a bunch of this because it's, like, too broad, and again, they're doing this too broad situation. It was either they're going to just lose and move on, or they're going to just bully these people into the ground where it's like, our pockets are deep, we can do this all day. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're basically just saying, like, all right, it's not going to work in Japan. Let's move over to the United States and see if we can kind of get something there. And be like, we told you. They said this because that is whatever we own. So, I don't know. It's very scummy. It's just like, all right, do you have to do this? Like, for all that it's worth, you're heading into Gen 10. You're dropping Legend ZA. Are those games, like, not going to sell because of Palworld? No, I think they're going to sell just fine.
Yeah.
The existence of Palworld does not directly affect Pokemon, at least in my opinion.
It's the simple fact that Nintendo got their ego bruised because something that's similar got way more traction than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which were absolutely terrible. And if you want to, fight me. I don't care. Battle it out in the comments below. Come on. Take me on. Scarlet and Violet were the worst Pokemon games ever made.
Those bugs. Yeah, those bugs were not...
No, the time travel mechanic was stupid, too.
Oh, yeah. They're just grasping at straws there. But, again, 32 out of the 32, or 33 claims, they were rejected. It's like, at what point are you Nintendo and you're like, maybe we should just give up. Maybe this is just not worth our time and money. Maybe we should just focus on making the actual game better. And it sucks to be talking about this again because essentially this is just that court case moved over to the United States. That's what this is. But at the same time, it's like, it's February. We were just talking about this, and it's like you're not getting a different result, at least from what I understand.
I mean, they aren't. I mean, if anything, the U.S. Patent Company is just rejecting them left and right. They even said specifically they will only let the one patent go through if they accept that the other 22 were rejected. And as far as I've seen, Nintendo has not said anything about they're just accepting that the others were rejected. So, again, they're a child with a bruised ego.
Yeah, and you brought up the one patent about swapping out virtual creatures on the fly. Like, at what point? Because, like, I know this is like apples to oranges here, but like Xbox was hammered with the monopoly about the Activision Blizzard case. They were going after them, and it was just year over year, same thing. They were battling in court. That had substantial impacts. This is just, like, too broad for me to say, like, you're trying to monopolize your gameplay. Like, let's talk about the Nemesis system. This is the thing I've heard most throughout this court case, where it's just locked off to one studio. Is this thing too broad where it's like, are you really going to lock it off to just Pokemon to be able to switch between different mounts and whatever?
The way I see it is, like, if they're going to accept the fact that this is just based off of a game mechanic, then you're opening the door for everybody to do the same thing. Yeah. You're opening the door for Ubisoft to be like, oh, well, we created the whole eagle dive thing or whatever, like leap of faith in Assassin's Creed. That means no other game is allowed to do a leap of faith. You can't mimic it. You can't, like, put it in a game to say, oh, we're paying an homage to them or something like that. So, Split Fiction, hey, look out because I know you have it.
Uh-oh.
But, like, same thing with, like, and you know, games like Split Fiction, you know, I'll bring that up because like you wouldn't be able to have any game like that because every game could just say, "Oh, our like we're gonna patent all of our mechanics." Like Tekken or Street Fighter could say, "Oh, we're gonna patent like the 2D like or 3D like space like fighting style games where you go head to head." And like then at that point you open the door for Nintendo to like patent stuff in like Super Smash Brothers and claim, "Oh, you're not allowed to create a fighting game. Go against multiverses, even though that game's shutting down anyway." You know, like where does it end at that point? You're opening the door for so many things.
Yeah, and especially with like companies for like EA, albeit it's a different circumstance, but they had the Madden license forever, and like you couldn't like make a Madden or an NFL themed game for a while. That's why we saw 2K die off with their football games. That only makes things worse, where it's like, all right, even if let's just say Pokemon wins and you can't swap between mounts, you can't throw balls at certain things in the overworld. That's the only place you're going to be able to play something like that. And at that point, you're at their mercy where they're like, well, where else are you going to go for a game like this? There's no other place because we own it. And then it's like, you don't have to innovate. You don't have to do any of this. You don't have to do any of that because, again, you got the consumer cornered off. And then it's like, do you use the word monopoly? Like, is that suddenly a thing? I don't know if that can be described as a gameplay mechanic.
It would be.
Yeah, okay. So, I know
point,
illegal stuff, it gets weird.
You know, if like you're holding a mechanic hostage, you have a monopoly on those mechanics, basically. You know, I might be using the term monopoly wrong here on that, but like, if, like you said, so competition breeds innovation. That is a fact. If you have no competition, you don't have to innovate. There is a reason why Pokemon has gotten terrible. The only time they have innovated is with Legends Arceus, and that one was the only one that people found good in the past like 10 years.
Yeah.
Because they actually did something good. Whenever your mechanics go, "Oh, we're doing something different this time." Pokemon become big like kaiju. Cool. That's nice.
That's
The
like
story
barely an
still sucked.
attempt. Yeah.
Like, story still sucked. All you're doing is just making Pokemon big. Ooh, that's so innovative. Or Scarlet and Violet. "Oh, we're doing time travel. Oh, there's a billion time travel stories. It's not like you're the first one who's done it."
Yeah.
Okay? Like, having primitive and future Pokemon that are literally nothing but either really caveman looking or robots. That's dumb because, like, I mean, assuming the future of Pokemon is just going to end up being robots is, I don't know. It's stupid in my opinion. Honestly, I hate it. And also the other mechanic of terastallizing. Ooh, my Pokemon turned into a crystal.
Yeah. No.
I mean, come on.
I also just think, for Nintendo's sake, Pokemon's Pokemon. Like, are you really threatened by Palworld that much? Where it's like, you have to take them out? Like, honestly, back when they dropped Legends Arceus, Palworld, timeline-wise, wasn't a thing. So it's like, why do you gotta worry about them? You did fine. Like, it just shows that you did fine and you can make a good game still. It's not like you're losing your touch. I mean, you can drop Gen 10 whenever you want, and that can be a whole different game. But at the same time, it's like, you're not threatened by them. In the grand scheme of everything that's, like, gaming and everything, I never see Palworld coming close to what Pokemon is. Like, it's just never gonna be that.
It's like saying, you know, Magic the Gathering is like threatening the Pokemon card game.
Yeah.
You know, or like Yu-Gi-Oh threatens the Pokemon card game.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. I mean, why isn't the Pokemon Company and Nintendo going after every company that makes a card game?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. They could potentially be taking away the Pokemon card profits.
Uh-oh. No, they got TCG Pocket now. I'm grinding that game. I love it, but they gotta switch things up there.
You know who did that first? Yu-Gi-Oh did that first. Magic the Gathering did that first.
Maybe they should
So
reverse and go after That'd be, oh my gosh. Imagine a video on that. them going after
Yo,
the
come
card
on,
game.
Wizards of the Coast, go after Pokemon over TCG Pocket. Come
Imagine.
on, I want to see it.
We want to see it, but I don't know. It sucks to be making another video practically about the same thing, but I guess that's what Pokemon deems viable for their long-term success. Do you have any closing remarks here, or are we're good until maybe they decide to patent another thing that pisses us off?
I just worry about the future of Pokemon. That's really all I worry about, because Pokemon used to be fun, and Nintendo, with all their frivolous lawsuits and everything needing to be a gimmick, has ruined the essence of what made Pokemon great.
Yes.
If you want Gen 10 to succeed, which I guarantee you we're getting probably Gen 10 like later this year, like probably in the fall or something, or like maybe next year. Like, if you want Gen 10 to succeed, actually focus on making Gen 10 and put like another 150 Pokemon in the game, or like 200 or something that are new and unique, instead of and give us a new evolution, and
please,
like stop being threatened and getting your ego bruised by anybody who wants to make a game that's like, that shares a mechanic. Ooh.
Yeah, like you see Call of Duty sitting there, and there's like 20,000 different FPS Warzone type games. They're not batting an eye, and they're still doing good, but who am I? I don't own any of those big IP. But what I do have part in is Game Sandwich. I have a part in that. So I suggest you guys watching this video, comment down below. What are your thoughts on all this? Is Nintendo cooked? I don't know, as the young people say. But if you want to talk more about video games, why don't you join our Discord, because links to that is all in the video description down below. But as of right now, I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.